Hi everybody, welcome to Talking Teal, Season 7, Episode 2. I'm Yon Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And we're Lady Parts TV. And we're going to start by saying a humongous thank you to Rachel, who sponsored this episode. Thank you so much.
Salam, salam, salam.
And so many people who emailed us actually started their email by thanking you, Rachel. I just want you to know.
Yes.
Everybody's really grateful and think you're really awesome. And we hope that maybe one of you will sponsor the next episode.
And by the way, she is really awesome.
She is really awesome, yes. We know that from personal
With or
experience.
without her fabulous contributions,
Yes.
she is. I'm wearing my Wentworth t-shirt, thanks
Yes.
to Lior. And, thank you, Lior.
And don't forget, after the episode, let us know if you want to do a perk, either full episode or personal perk, and we will let you know if we can do it this week. Hopefully we can.
I have to apologize in advance if I keep straying off.
There's
All
a lot
our
of
birds have
distraction.
returned, so it's very exciting.
Yeah. There's a lot of distractions.
Yes.
So, Payback, directed by Kevin Carlin, written by John Ridley, who I always say is master of emotion. He always knows how to, how do you say?
Illicit?
Play the strings of my
Oh,
heart.
yes, exactly. Yes.
we
No,
love
that's
you.
fine.
We love you, John
Pluck
Ridley.
the strings of your heart.
Yes, plucked. That's the one. And we will actually, very fittingly, start with Rachel's description of the episode.
Which is right on. Yes. Rachel says, this episode did everything right. They struck a balance between the darkness and the light. We saw redemption and we saw desolation. We saw humor and we saw hardcore drama. They seem to have recaptured what brought us here to begin with. It's about the characters and how they develop. It's about pain and grief, but it's also about love and family.
So
and
spot on.
really, that says it all, and it's a lot of what we've been missing in the previous season, a couple of previous seasons. This episode reminded me of the good old early days of this brilliant series when it was at its peak.
Absolutely. One of my favorite episodes in Wentworth history. I loved it. Lily wanted to throw in a few jokes. So it was a bomb of an episode. It was explosive and it was a blast.
Gosh, kind of dad jokes,
I know,
Lily.
I don't know. We love you, Lily. And
we love dads.
And we love dads, yes. Nothing wrong.
Just their jokes.
And Camille said that it felt like a season finale. It was that intense. And
It's
I
true.
agree.
Yes. Also, it had a cliffhanger. I mean...
Yeah, thank goodness we don't have to wait a whole year on that one. Though I think we all pretty much assume the same thing about that.
What we have decided about cliffhangers anyway is that they're such a waste because they leave you unhappy and unfulfilled at the end of the season, and then you don't remember...
By the time the next season comes along, you're like, what happened?
Oh, right.
Now, that doesn't necessarily apply to Wentworth fans because by the time the next season happens, they've
seen
already rewatched the whole thing.
2 or 3 times, yes. But I mean, I'm talking about regular series, yes.
But I would like to start our discussion today with an unlikely character, with Allie. And
why unlikely? We've been talking about Allie since she first appeared.
No, but we haven't started with her in a long time because there's been very little to say about her. And the thing about this episode, which I kind of didn't see coming until I started reading your emails, which was, so she was very pivotal to the plot. And she elicited a lot of different reactions from you. And primarily, by me saying she was very pivotal to the plot, many of you are still very pissed off that she is mostly used as a plot device, which I can totally see. Absolutely valid. And words like annoying came up a lot.
Well, the character.
Oh, absolutely. We're not talking about Kate. And in fact, Kate Jenkinson elicited only rave reviews on
magnificent.
Yes, she did so much. She
did, and
range of emotion.
Thank you.
I mean, she's been given so little to do, but she's doing a lot with it. But Linda said she wanted to slap her, and I also felt that she was rather annoying. And Lauren captured my feelings, but then after I read your emails, I felt a little differently about it. But hold on. So Lauren said, I felt for just a minute we got to see more of the Allie we like when she went and confronted Mary about her drug use. I was cheering for Allie in this moment, standing up for herself. I was hoping she would see from this that Mary never did truly care for anyone but herself. But then, and then I have to stray a little from what Lauren said and say, when I read that, I said, but then I had to spoil it all by saying something stupid like, I'll get your drugs anyway. Allie goes and agrees to get married to drugs. Stupid, stupid, stupid. So disappointing.
Manipulated completely into doing it also.
I guess, though, that in the writing of this episode, Allie had to be the catalyst for Kaz going through with her plan to kill Mari, and without this, she may not have been motivated to do it. Once again, Allie is just part of moving the story on. So, all very valid and really what I felt in that moment. But, all of a sudden, some of you, and now part of me,
and me too,
is thinking maybe, in fact, now, all of a sudden, Allie's character is starting to make a little bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with what Denise has to say.
Okay, Denise says, I know so many find Allie a waste, and yes, she is annoying, with her always being a secondary to another character. Doesn't that show a characteristic of someone who is insecure and also an addicted personality disorder? I'm not a psychologist, but I've known many people who have been substance abusers, and many times it seems they fall into the characteristics of how Allie is behaving.
All of a sudden it clicked that, wait a second, this is probably who Allie can be oftentimes and was oftentimes, and in fact Diana takes it a step. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say it's probably who Allie is.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't have to be.
No, she doesn't have to be, but this is after years and years and years of abuse and
probably never
substance abuse,
and probably never real therapy and never real rehab that actually addressed the reasons that she became a drug addict to begin with. And Diana actually takes it a step further and says, I know many online fans pine for the Allie of season 4, but that woman is long gone. We are all often at our best in the throes of deep infatuation. The real normal Allie is a deeply flawed character. And see, we only got to know Allie in season 4 when pretty quickly she was with B. She was charming, she was wonderful, and actually we thought that was default Allie, and then she deteriorated. But more likely is what Diana says is right, that with B she was blossoming. She had, yes, exactly, and now she's defaulted back, not only back to who she was before, but also even more so because of her grief, because of and also
it's been a decline since B's death. I mean, she had her moment, but she didn't pull the trigger. She didn't
but even
push
then,
the
that's not a moment of being. No, but it's a moment of revenge.
Yes, but at least it showed some moxie.
Yeah. But also, go ahead and read what Rachel has to say.
Okay, Rachel said, while Kaz solidified her top dog status by slapping Allie's face, she left Allie behind with nothing. Allie has a history of being cast off by her parents, who left her to fend for herself in the streets. This led to her destructive relationship with Mari. Kaz saved her from that life, and Allie loved her so much she called her mom. Once again, Allie has been cast aside by a parental figure to fend for herself. Maybe, just maybe, Allie is about to figure out she has to save herself. No one else can do that for her. Fingers crossed.
I'm so happy that Rachel said that, because when Allie is like, first of all, she says to Mary, how can you do that to me, dangle herring in front of me? And she's right, but she then goes ahead and says yes. And then she tells Kaz, it's all your fault, you slapped my face. And I was like, she slapped your face, so fucking what? And how, take some responsibility for yourself. But then I realized that it's true. She has
it's in her history.
It's in her history. Again,
of rejection.
She's probably never really had the proper therapy she needed to be able to find different coping mechanisms and own her own decisions and all that other stuff. She's a lovely person, but she is deeply, deeply flawed with a very tough background.
Exactly.
So
she's earned it.
So I'm starting to feel a little more understanding.
Well, I feel empathy for her for sure, and I do understand why the writers have been writing her in this way. Now, I do think that they left her behind.
Yes.
In a few seasons, the last few seasons. They didn't. This episode really showed us.
Yes, I think it just happened a little too
why
late.
and who Allie is, and that this is Allie.
I think they waited a little too long to do that.
Yes, but I think that they can redeem themselves and her.
Oh, they can definitely do it moving forward. We'll
Yes.
just see. We'll see what happens from there. But I think that Ruby was on to something when she kept, when she tells her, if it's not me, it's somebody else. You just have to be with somebody. And obviously, Allie realized it. We'll see what she does with it. At first she went to drugs. Kaz didn't let her. we'll see what happens
Thank
now.
you, Kaz.
As always, thank you, Kaz. And we'll talk about Kaz in actually just 1 second. But before we go on to Kaz, I just want to say that also what the writers did with Allie's episode not only made us feel a little bit more compassionate and understanding of where she's coming from. I'd like to quote a couple of people. Samantha said, "I did like that she honestly owned up to her weak personality in the conversation with Ruby. I have a feeling that she will be even more on Team Mary after Kaz is stunned. What will it take to turn her around?" And Thera says, which I really loved, "I hate it when people think that they're useless, since I have memories about thinking that about myself. That's why I can relate so much to Allie, I guess." And I think that if the writers really had understood that Allie has so much relatability potential, then if they'd done it a little sooner, look, we're all starting to turn around, to come around and understand Allie better and love her again, despite her flaws, with her flaws. And, she's the same character that she's been for a couple of seasons now, but up until now we found her annoying, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, wait a second, we get it.
Well, we found her annoying, and we found the way the writers were using her as a sort of a betrayal of both the character and our love of her.
Yeah, and our love of B in the relationship. Speaking of her relationship with Mari, Thera says, "I don't get how Susie Porter said during the M&G with Screen Star events that Mari truly loves Allie. If Mari truly loved her, then she would never have done all those things that hurt her. However, I would like to quote a new writer, by the way, Bindi, who says,
Allie and Mari, the junkie sociopath and the codependent borderliner. That was waiting to happen, I suppose. Don't necessarily like either character, yet the story is pretty accurate when looking at it from a psychology angle."
And Bindi is a psychologist, by the way.
Oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
Yes.
It's underestimated how well Jenkins plays the subservient sidekick in various guises. So well, in fact, Allie's missing backbone rattles us on many levels quite effectively. Mari, well, no one can throw a tantrum quite like Mari. The narcissistically inclined tend to do that when they lose control of someone else's mind. I wonder who we're thinking of. The narcissistically inclined... Oh, sorry. I'm a bit done with chronic personality disorders. Women who end up inside are so much more varied and deeper than that, as I've seen up close and personal.
And I think that we see that with a lot of the people in the prison, but I agree that there's more fleshing out to do both for Allie and for Mari. But I think that their codependent relationship, their destructive codependent relationship, is very clear from Bindi's description. And so I think that when Susie Porter says that Mari loves Allie, I think it's to the extent that kind of person
can love someone.
Yes. Ultimately, it's all serving her needs, and she will use whatever she needs and whoever she needs to do that. But I think that in her perspective, from her point of view, she loves Allie.
That's kind of like killing Eve. I think the villain does love Eve.
She just doesn't understand the construct of love.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
She's a true sociopath.
She thinks of love as ownership. Yeah. And Lauren says?
Lauren says, Mari is so confident still in spinning her stories. She so clearly got Rita where it hurts to blame her for Ray's death, to get the heat off herself and stop Rita from realizing the truth. I mean, Rita was coming for her full on, and she managed to sidestep that. Everything Mari does always has that manipulative part to it. Like when she asked Allie for drugs, saying, no one gives a shit about her, Mari, or Danny.
I noticed that too. She had to slip Danny's because she knows that it's her weakness.
So manipulative. She's adept at bending people to her will by preying on their weaknesses. In that way, I think Mari is very intuitive with people.
Yes, and I think that's a very good observation that Rita came full on and she managed to diffuse that.
Yes.
Because she knows that her physicality is not her strong suit. She knows it's her mind and how she plays with people.
And I think that's how she's managed to stay alive so long.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk about Kaz, my hero, Kaz.
And it's hard to remember back then in the early days when we didn't like Kaz. When Kaz was kind of psycho-y.
No, I always, well, with the exception of when she was still a guest appearance kind of a character when she would come.
Yeah,
but once she came in the prison, and they did a very smart thing with her, which is the second episode I think she was in. They gave us her backstory.
Yes,
and it was such a beautiful, beautiful episode.
Sad and beautifully shot and beautifully told.
I can see it in front of me.
Heartbreaking. Me too. In those golden tones.
Exactly. So, and I think I fell in love with her right there, and then she of course only grew from there. And Jane, who is also a first-time writer, by the way, I'm so happy that more of you are sending emails coming out of the shadows. I see you on YouTube too, commenting a little bit here and there. Send us emails.
Come
just
on.
comment. Anyway, she says, well-deserved slow clap for Kaz, and I'm assuming you mean this.
Although this was not...
No, not this. This is a different story. That's an entirely different story.
I know, but I can't help but do it.
So I loved Kaz in this episode, beginning to end, everything about it. And let's break it down. So let's start with a few of your general reactions. Lauren?
How great was that moment that Kaz sprang into action, pulling up her mattress, getting the items, and striding out of her cell. Everything she did was so decisive. The way she marched into Mari's unit, looked through the cell door to see Mari in there, lit the bomb, opened Mari's cell door, looked right at Mari in the eyes, rolled that bomb in, then shut the door and put the wedge under it to ensure there was no escape. Loved every second of it. Even the way she walked away, purposefully, but did flinch ever so slightly as the bomb exploded in the cell behind her. Magnificently done.
I agree with every word.
Should we then again do...
Yes, let's do this again. David says, Tammy has quickly become the heart of the show. She has grown to be just as empathetic as Bee was, and she evoked a lot of Bee in this episode, I feel. I mean, I know she's been wearing her hair like that for a long time, but coming out as we were just saying, rolling the bomb in, closing the door, and as she was walking with her hair like that, with her stride, I did see like echoes of Bee. I felt that she was growing to be that strong person. Also...
Bee took a long time to become that person.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Kaz always, because Kaz had it in her, because she was always a vigilante. But she really, really, really grew a lot. I mean, I feel that she as a character has become a lot stronger.
Definitely.
More assured of herself. And I think also probably because...
empathetic. And she really has learned how to be a top dog.
She's like a hero, you know? And I think also that especially since, I don't remember how much time she got for flying Sonia off the roof. But I feel that she has less and less to lose, she feels, and more reason to do whatever it takes to, while she's in the prison, protect herself and the girls. Or herself and the women. I call everybody girls.
You say flying Sonia off the roof, it makes me think of a kite.
Bindi says, Kaz, the woman with more balls than 20 men. A fierce lioness when it comes to protecting her girls, definitely needs to get laid. Really, Bindi? I don't know about that. I think she's perfectly fine as she is. Okay, so Denise?
I've always known Kaz would eventually become more of a top dog than she started out to be. Her attitude to not use violence against women in the prison was not going to work, and now we are seeing a more passionate Kaz when it comes to protecting those she loves. When she catches Allie about to shoot up in the kitchen, it unleashes Mama Bear in Kaz. That last intense scene of Kaz rolling that homemade bomb into Mari's cell was beyond what we would have expected from her in season 4. She went all out and all in because of her love for Allie. But I would be naive to think it was all just because of her love for Allie. Some of it, oh hell, who am I kidding? A lot of it is because she also hates Mari. So there are many reasons Kaz chooses to go ahead and kill Mari. Or perhaps say, try to kill Mari.
And go ahead and tell us what Rachel said, because I have a comment about those two.
Rachel says, in Kaz's mind, she's being noble. She's a martyr, and martyrs are willing to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. Kaz knows there will be repercussions for her actions, but she no longer cares. In that moment, she just wants to save everyone from Mari.
And here's what I have to say. It was a very interesting observation of Rita to tell Kaz, you know, it's easier to say than done, because when you threw Sonia off the roof, you were protecting Liz. It was a heat of the moment thing. You were defensive. It's different. You're not a cold-blooded murderer. And it seems that Kaz always needs to know that she's doing what she's doing for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mari tried to kill her.
Yes, and she still didn't.
And she was still going to give up the plan to retaliate or to take her out, because even for her own safety, what she needed was that knowing that she's doing it for Allie, knowing that she's doing it for somebody else that she loves.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard for her to do things just for herself, which is the opposite of Mari.
Yeah, she's a protector.
Yeah. But it's an interesting observation. She really only does these things if she knows she's doing it for somebody else.
And she's willing to pay any price for it.
Yeah.
For herself, any personal price. She is willing to martyr herself.
The opposite. To me, she's the opposite of Mari.
Oh, the complete opposite of Mari.
Yeah.
They're yin and yang.
Mm-hmm. So here are some of your fearless predictions. All of you are pretty sure that Mari's alive. But some of you are not that sure that by the end of the season, Kaz still will be. So, David says that...
That's too bad.
I can't even fathom that. If Kaz... To me, we can't lose Kaz.
That's a loss I don't think I
Kaz.
can tolerate.
No. First of all, to me, I personally don't feel that. I mean, Wentworth has become a show where, who's going to die this season? Somebody has to die. I don't think that's a necessity, personally. But you can't keep killing off our loved ones because we're running out of them. And you can't keep bringing, killing people and bringing new people because you have to keep some of our
beloved people.
Okay, so David says that it seems that to him from the preview that Mari used the mattress to shield herself from the blast. So it makes sense. If any of you are wondering how the hell she could live after that. And Lauren says?
Lauren says, the trailer for episode 3 shows Mari's cell with the toilet blown up, a black hole in the mattress, and a pillow with explosion marks on it as well. How many times did you watch this trailer? Because I don't remember any of that. This tells me Mari is not dead. I didn't think that Mari would be gone so early on. The writers are not done with her yet. But it does put a super dangerous target on Kaz's back in terms of Mari. I wonder how the women will react knowing Kaz tried to take Mari out and failed. Or that Kaz would actually do that. Maybe it would raise her status as top dog, and maybe not.
Right. On one hand, it could raise her status because she did actually do something really, really big. On the other hand, she failed, and then we'll see what happens after that. So
she did as much as she could. I think
you never
the fact
know.
that Mari had a moment to outsmart her.
But you never know with these women how they would react to things and when they'll flip on somebody.
Right.
Lauren also reminds us that we now have a way that Mari may eventually be released, with her lawyer talking about getting the law changed retrospectively about causing the doctor's death.
I think retroactively.
Yeah, he said retrospectively.
Oh,
I guess it's maybe an Australian
thing.
But yeah, so I mean, to me, it's a bit. Wow. Okay, so you're going to change the law, and then but I guess all right.
I don't think it's as you said. It's not going to happen overnight. She's still going to be
not
around.
Overnight. No, exactly. This is definitely
it's going to be a couple of seasons.
Haul.
Exactly.
And also David says, knowing the connection Allie has to Ruby and knowing that the ticking time bomb of Drago's note quietly sitting in Liz's memory box will have to blow at some point, I'm thinking that Allie will be the one to finally kill Mari. She's the only one who could get close enough. What does that remind you of?
That reminds me of Game of Thrones, Jon killing Daenerys.
She is the one who Mari would never suspect. She will kill Mari to protect Ruby, not Kaz, but Ruby. That's what David says.
Too bad.
And Lily says, what will be the rest of the season about if Mari dies now? Allie trying to get revenge for her? We saw how that worked. I don't think so, as she's so useless and transparent right now. No, I agree. They can't kill Mari off right now. I think we're all in agreement.
We need Mari. There's no other villain, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, regarding to Kaz and what will happen with her,
Lauren says, on a lot of social media, fans are speculating that Kaz will die this season, just because episode 4 is called Karen, and the one after that is named Ascension. I'm not sure that you can ever take Wentworth that literally, as there are always surprises along the way. And honestly, to just kill off Kaz so that Mari or Rita can ascend would be just annoying.
I agree.
More than annoying. It would be enraging.
Yes.
I'm tired of characters dying for shock value. And although we know Wentworth is violent, isn't it unrealistic for so many people to die in one prison?
Yes. Go ahead.
On the other hand, I can see why fans think it might be Kaz who will die, as she has really upped the ante on dealing with the women, especially Mary, where now Kaz has tried to end Mary's life twice, and Mary has also tried to have Kaz killed. Definitely a dangerous game of cat and mouse going on here. I'd say cat and cat. That could potentially end up with a death. Another theory has been that Allie gets caught in the crossfire and dies. Again, I can't particularly see the writers going that way.
I guess so many things can happen.
Well, yes, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. What does Rachel say?
Rachel says the next episode is called Atonement. I think Kaz is going to be put in a position where she has to face her own demons and how her actions haven't helped anybody. Kaz is confident that Boomer and the others will care for Liz, but none of them understand the effects of dementia the way Kaz does. When it comes down to it, Kaz's need to save everyone will ultimately put everyone she cares about in danger. She's going to be placed in isolation, which means now we'll have a new war for the top dog spot.
No.
Oh, I hate those top dog wars.
Denise says, in the sneak peeks we saw before the season started, we saw Will standing over a body bag and crying. Was this Mari?
Oh, no. Oh,
no.
I don't see him crying.
If not Mari, who is in that body bag? Could it be Miles?
I don't think he'd cry over Miles either.
I think he'd cry over Miles.
I think he'd cry over Kaz.
Because he put her in as deputy
maybe
governor, maybe feeling guilty. Oh,
I think he'd cry over Kaz, though.
He would definitely, definitely, oh no.
Yeah, definitely cry over Kaz.
If not Mari, who is in that body bag? My real concern is it turns out to be Kaz. I hope not, but realistically, we have to realize that Mari is the antagonist on this series right now, and there, as far as I know, isn't another on the horizon. Yet, this is all very intriguing because this was supposed to be the last season. If it was supposed to be a season where Kaz or Mari was eventually killed, did they keep it like that? That's another thing, you know? So
well, I don't think that they should end, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just don't think that they would end Wentworth by killing Kaz. I think that it would be...
killing Mari.
No, I think that they could kill
No, I think
Mari.
that if they were going to end the season at the end of the series, at
yes,
the end of the season, killing Mari would be the thing to do.
I think killing Kaz would leave everybody with a terrible taste in their mouth.
But killing Mari would make total sense.
Yes.
But now that they have more seasons and we know that they reshot things in the last 2 episodes, did they change that? But that's an interesting idea because maybe they kept both alive.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I don't know.
All I can say is I want Kaz to be alive.
Me too.
Now, Samantha says, I see no scenario in which Kaz survives the season. There's no way Mari would let her actions slide. I also feel that the writers have too much interest in Mari as the villain to kill her off instead of Kaz. How can they give Kaz a meaningful, satisfying death that rivals but is not too similar to Bee's? I don't want her to be dead. I don't want her to be dead.
Don't
I'm not even
solve
entertaining.
That problem,
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I'm not entertaining that possibility.
Anyway, Bee's death was
amazing, and it shouldn't really be
the coup de grace
topped because it is the
Although if you're going to top it,
it would be with Kaz.
It would be with Kaz, I feel.
What you also especially loved about this episode when it comes to Kaz is her teaming up with Rita, even though it was a short-lived union. But
it's a good one.
Yeah, what I think we loved about it so much, there was 2 mature, respectful adults sitting down trying to solve an intellectual problem.
And trying to solve a problem intellectually.
Like Mari, trying to solve a problem in a moral, ethical, but at the same time criminal way. It was a thing of beauty. I loved seeing them together. I hope that they do more.
They make a good team.
I love seeing them steal chemicals, and I mean, again, they're both
very smart. Rita certainly is the muscle.
And they both tread that line of being, again, a very good, conscientious person, and yet being able and willing to do
what
criminal.
They have to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to survive in prison. You have to do things you wouldn't do out in the world. Of course, Kaz did things out in the world.
But as a vigilante, always thinking that she's doing a good thing.
Yes, but she was able to do them.
Yes. Again, for a cause, to protect somebody else, she's willing and able to do a lot of things. But both of them, Rita and Kaz, are our people now. I think that they are our heroes. They are our protagonists. I mean, we love Liz and Boomer and all these other people, but these 2 are the women that we're cheering on to win here in this war. Boomer
and Liz are the heart of the
family.
The family.
Now Lily had to make one more joke, and she said that teaming up, Kaz and Rita teaming up made sparks. Literally, quite literally. Okay, so let's talk about Rita now. Rachel reminds us that a group of crows is called
a murder.
A murder of crows. Very brilliant, and it was brilliant to use the crows on one hand to be the mystical element that Rita needed to go on her emotional journey and drive the plot of her wanting to kill Mary because Ray's spirit could not move on, but at the same time rooted in something so realistic as being the drug mules.
The drug mules. I mean, really, that was such a twist.
Whoever came up with that idea, genius idea. Again, applause and brava to Leah Purcell, who is just such a good actress.
The range of emotions that she's done in these first 2 episodes have been...
And the range of emotions, I think, that she's managed to evoke in us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenally good actress.
She really is. Jane is wondering if Rita will be blamed for Mari's attempted murder, and I think since we see that Kaz is in the slot next episode, I'm pretty sure that there was
and everybody
people saw her. Yeah,
saw
I think
her
she wasn't trying.
It wasn't surreptitious. She did. Yeah. There was no secret element about it. She had to do what she had to do, and she didn't care who saw her do it.
Right. So I don't think Rita will be. I mean, I guess she could be blamed as an accomplice, but I don't think once they have the perpetrator, I don't think that they particularly care to find anybody else who might have participated. Lauren says that she's glad to see that Rita is still in touch with the Conquerors and that she'll probably need their help, and it's a good thing to have. I agree. And I love that also because her, so far at least, her undercover cop status is, remained intact because also her unit completely disowned her. Then, as far as the Conquerors go, she is part of them, so they're loyal to her. And now that Ray's dead, especially.
I'm surprised that they don't blame her a little bit for Ray's death.
Well, they don't know.
No, but he was killed outside the prison on the way to marry her. I would think that they would kind of put 2 and 2 together in some way. But
well, but it's revenge for Drago. That's what they think,
right, that's right.
And that's what happens with gangs.
Right.
Payback for this, then payback for that, then retaliation, and never-ending cycle.
But it was still Rita.
Yeah.
If it was payback for Drago.
Well, yes, but still, again, that's kind of what gangs do. You kill one, and then they kill you for killing that, and then they kill you. It's
so intelligent.
Yes. What's interesting is that we all also have somewhat new opinions on Ruby as well, thanks to this episode, and thanks to how she treated both Allie and her sister and Liz and Boomer. Yes, with the tango and all. We'll get to that tango. What does Diana have to say?
Diana says, I still think Ruby's character can go on an interesting arc. There's a softer woman inside the brash, obnoxious exterior, like in her patience with Liz and Boomer.
Yeah, and I think this episode really, really gave us a little bit of a nicer, sweeter, more...
gentle.
Yeah, less abrasive type of Ruby that I could definitely... I mean, I still don't think that she has any chemistry with Allie, but that has nothing to do with it. As a character, I'm liking her better. I think we're all kind of warming up.
And she certainly has wonderful chemistry with Leah.
With Rita, yes, absolutely. And now, let's talk about the new acting governor, Will. A very enthusiastic acting governor, but poor guy. I don't think anybody has real faith in him, including Vera. When he suggested his new programs, he was like, well, he's here something. No. But
anyway, she wasn't relinquishing her spot that easily. I think that it was very hard for her.
But the thing is that now that he chose Miles as his deputy, do we have any faith in the guy?
No, all I know is he didn't want to choose Jake. And
yes, I don't know. Were they the only two in the running?
I think in the hierarchy. Yeah. She was next.
Well, I don't know.
I think he thinks he can control her better than he can control
Jake. Well, he is completely delusional then. First of all, they of course make sure that we know that she's still gambling. She's still taking bribes. Will she step up now that she has been, now that she's given
I think that would be very interesting to see Smiles take a turn for the better. To see this give her some self-respect and some agency. I think it would be really great to see her try to get her act together instead of just being... Because she does have some compassion.
And I was about to say, because, I think that... And I love that they told us that she's doing it for her gambling, because otherwise I don't think she's just a very corrupt person.
No.
I actually think that she has a lot of feeling in her, and she does kind of feel equal among these prisoners. You know, she talks to them as her equals. And I hope that if she is put in a situation where the morality is, you know, if she has a moral question, I hope that she chooses the right path.
I do too. Now, I'm not sure that it was really wise of Will not to make Jake his second.
So you could control him?
Because Jake would feel more kindly towards him. He would have a little more control over him. Now Jake is angry.
I personally, and he's also been ignored by Vera.
Yeah.
And
so
an angry Jake is a Jake who throws a tantrum.
Well, an angry Jake is a Jake who loses reason. He
is easily made available for all sorts of bad things.
He easily steps over to the dark side when he's pissed off and hurt.
Yeah,
and his ego is damaged.
I agree. I think that he's now really reaching that point of being a loose cannon again, because he had every reason to want to be nicer, to appeal to Vera, and to maybe become, you know, the deputy. But now he doesn't have that reason anymore. Everybody's ignoring him anyway.
So I think it was a bad decision, but it'll be interesting to see what Miles makes of it.
Yes, and I hope that means that the writers are going to do more with her this season and going to give her a bigger role.
I love Jackie.
We've been saying this for years.
For years and years and years.
Rachel says, Will has shown a propensity in the past for making bad choices. I think we're about to see some more to come. Mari will use Will from this point on, and she may very well secure the top dog spot by using his feelings for her. We know, we had the conversations between Will and Kaz. We know that it's very important for Will to have a top dog that's working with him. And maybe now with Kaz in the slot, with Kaz showing that she is, you know, potentially dangerous and not working, not playing by the rules. And with him, I think, wanting in the little time that he has to be acting governor, I think he wants to show what he can do. He might actually turn to Mary, thinking that she would be a better collaborator with him or partner for him. I agree, but as big mistake, huge. But as Rachel said, he has made plenty of mistakes and especially in judgment of character.
Actually, his kindness and his goodness
he's kind of naive about
is
things.
what makes him
Yeah. Bindi says, let's hope the acting governor keeps both heads on straight during his reign of Bar City as he navigates through the pending mess. And, you know, he wants to put in more vocational training. He wants to put more guards around to protect, to keep drugs out.
From coming in. No, his intentions are excellent.
Well, I always think that there is very little on Wentworth that's said or done that's a throwaway. And I wonder if both these things, vocational and guards, if they'll come into play this season. Because with the vocational training, I mean, you know, if we think about Sonia.
First of all, that was very successful, although they ended up using it for... you know,
exactly. So I'm saying that might come into play.
It was a very good idea.
Yes, but I'm saying I wonder if, again, the vocational training and more guards, if those two elements are going to be very important in the season moving on. So now let's talk about Vera and her new boy toy, the psychologist, the psychiatrist.
It's not exactly her boy toy yet. I mean, she may have cocked an eye at him, but
and you do mean cocked, because Vera liked to do that a lot. And by the way, Vera seems bored in her new role.
Oh, it's so funny when she's sort of shuffling through the papers and going, it's like she was doodling almost.
But Vera, I think I've seen her teeth more in the last 2 episodes than I've seen in the entire series.
Oh, I don't know. Last season, I think she was pretty toothsome.
No, but she's smiling.
She's smiling. Yes,
that's what I mean. I'm literally seeing her teeth. She's smiling a lot now.
Yes, well, she's happy about her pregnancy.
She's happy. She's happy about this guy.
Yeah, she's very excited to be doing the work with him.
Yes, and I think that this not being the person who makes all the tough decisions and who has to be the bad guy, she's now more capable of showing warmth towards the women and, you know, more compassion.
Which is really who she is.
Exactly. This new capacity of hers allows her to just kind of relax a little bit. But just, by the way, when it comes to the smiling, I saw more extreme facial expressions in this episode than in usual episodes of Wentworth. I'm just going to do a sample here of some of it. Not mine. I'm just putting, putting pictures. I can't even do it.
I was all ready for the show.
I can't do that. No, I can't do that. You'll see it and you'll see why.
Okay.
So most of you still don't think that this new psychologist is kosher, but some of you have started warming up to him.
I like him.
I know you do, because it's cute, and
He
you're
is-
very
yeah,
easy.
I know, I'm
You're very
so
easy.
cheap.
But Thera had an interesting piece of information.
Thera says that she learned that the doctor in prisoner cell block H was suspicious as well, and has done some strange things.
Strange things.
I have a hiccup. He was a doctor in prisoner, not a psychiatrist, which is a doctor. I'm sure he's going to do something with the information he's collecting from the prisoners.
Well, he better not do anything to Boomer or Liz.
No, and it would be, I mean, boy, is he a good actor, the character, if he's a bad guy, because he emanates.
Well, they're oftentimes
goodness,
charming,
yeah.
as we know.
Yes, but he isn't charming in a psychopathic way to me.
No, he's not necessarily a psychopath.
To me, there's no bells that go off in my.
Well, I don't think we're talking
in my
about.
head.
I don't think we're talking about Dr. Mengele type tough seriousness here. I think that maybe he's just has ulterior motives. I don't know. Lauren says, Liz, an interesting development with Greg offering a new drug for Liz to take. That's another thing, see?
Mm-hmm.
A trial
Drug
that he's
trial.
testing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, though, that she will actually take the medicine, as she's very suspicious of him. But it would be cool if she did take it and it worked in terms of slowing down the rapid
That would
progress
be
of her
lovely.
dementia. But I think, I'm actually, now that you've put me on this cell block H legacy, I'm worried about this new drug because it's his drug. I'm worried about what he might do to Liz. And the fact that we saw a whole scene of her confusing him for Dawn and thinking he was bad could be foreshadowing.
I think it's foreshadowing her losing it, but
I think
you're right.
I think
mean,
we all want to believe that there's going to be another good psychologist.
Yeah,
just
because
as,
really,
just as Bridget was.
Bridget was such a positive element. Her thoughtfulness, her intelligence, her warmth really helped the women. She brought a sort of a ray of light into the prison,
I know.
some hope,
and
I think that there's a need for that in this
well,
prison.
the fact that there's a need doesn't necessarily mean that they will provide it. I'm worried about this guy. I really am, because he's so nice. Vera's so excited by him. All the flashing red arrows are there that this is a danger.
Flags are flying.
But let's talk about Liz and Boomer and Jake. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Liz actually had a fun episode where she was actually able to joke about her own dementia.
Exactly, and until she had the Dawn episode, she was pretty sharp. I felt. I felt some hope that maybe this isn't going to move so rapidly, because she was pretty together most of the episode, even making jokes.
She was making
like
jokes.
With the fertilizer.
She was able to help Rita and Kaz with her growing their cactus, and
growing their cactus.
And Jane says Liz's journey and the bucket list adds some nice texture to the one-note themes of drugs and top dogs. I really like that comment,
or
because
two-note themes.
Yeah, because we need that. We really need that. I mean, this is a sad plot, but we do need different types of
But they're
plots.
doing it in a way that is adding a great level of humanity and not sad all the time.
Yes, they were able to lift it up a little bit this time. Diana, by the way, says that Celia has talked about the research that she had to do into early onset dementia, and so it seems like it is early onset dementia. We don't look up these things. We don't read any extra materials besides what you send us, so we didn't know that part. So I guess
keep still hoping it's some kind of a brain tumor or something that they can get rid of.
Now, seeing Boomer trying to make Liz's bucket list
Yes.
prison accessible was just beautiful to watch. First of all, because it's Boomer and it's always hilarious, and secondly, because there was so much emotion and love in that. It was just beautiful. And Rachel says, Boomer tells Liz, "You're more important than Monte Carlos. I believe this is the most precious declaration of love we have heard on this show." It's true. And Jane says,
Boomer. Here is an example of when writing has stayed top-notch and consistent for a character, making it even more confusing as to why they have taken Allie into a swamp of mediocrity.
well, we won't go back to
No, we won't go
Allie,
back to
but I do
Boomer,
agree.
yes. They have kept Boomer the best of who she is.
Yeah. and still able
when,
to grow,
right.
and then deteriorate,
and when
regress.
Vera says that Boomer has had, she's easily influenced.
Yeah.
That is
That's
her
the
downfall, and that's her key, and it's also sometimes what uplifts her.
Yes, and as a psychologist said, she has high emotional intelligence and empathy. She's prone to act on impulse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually, but she's a wonderful, beautiful character, and they really kept her that way throughout everything she's gone through, throughout the show. I really appreciate that. Now let's talk about my favorite scene, of course. The tango. Scene. Every time I say that, I want to say the tango Maureen. I know it's not.
No, it's not.
First of all, the music. I don't know about you all. I'm a person for whom music is really important, and it can change everything about the atmosphere, my feelings, my emotions, the way I see things. And first of all, that tango, the music that they chose for that tango
was excellent.
Sublime.
Mm-hmm.
And the music throughout, really, this
Always.
show, everyone in the sound department is just so good at what they do.
Everyone in every department. I cannot tell you how many times I look at a shot in a scene, I go, oh, Kathy Chambers.
I know.
You are a goddess.
And the lighting.
It's just amazing.
And the editing.
Everything. The show is a
really
technological wonder.
Yep. Now seeing this scene, seeing how the girls, including Vera, by the way, sit there and watch as Jake tangos Liz away into a beautiful other alternative universe where she doesn't have to think about what's going on with her, and she can just enjoy herself and the sensuality.
The moment when it's part of the tango, of course. It's part of the thing. But that she, even did the stroking of the face.
It was absolutely beautiful. So much so that even I warmed up to Jake. Even I, who have been consistent about, no, you're not going to make me like you. And the writers, whatever you write, cannot make me forget that you're a weasel. I have to say. And now, Denise says, the past few seasons we've seen little glimpses of Jake's softer side. I think in the end, he will be there for Vera, and she will allow his participation in the baby's life. I think so too. I don't know if it will necessarily be the best choice, but I think that it will be inevitable, that he will be part of this baby's life, and they definitely are going there. But there's one person who did not like this tango, one person, and that's Lauren. And the people who wrote really to us.
Like it, yes. She said, I didn't like that Jake knew the tango and was showing Liz.
First of all, I didn't like the fact that Jake knew the tango.
Kind of feel as though the writers are trying to make us like Jake again.
Sure.
And he's just not a good guy. Sorry. Definitely helping Liz learn the tango was a sweet thing to do. But then I remember who Jake really is and what he's done, and I'm not ready to like him yet as a character. So I have to say that I am a sucker for good deeds. I often will forgive a villain or someone who's done bad things. I believe that there are other sides to people, and I think that Jake is not all bad. I think Jake is a weasel. I think Jake is scared. I think he's someone who is aspirational to the point that he will do bad things to protect himself and to move up in the hierarchy. But I think that Jake does have a good side. And I loved this moment. It was Jake just sort of going, oh, let me just do something nice. I think he likes Liz, and it was something he could do. And I think it was something he could do to feel good about himself. And I thought it was a beautiful moment, and I don't mind that it was someone I don't like.
Here's how I feel about it. I kind of think of Jay, I've come to think of him as a child. And I feel that it's like when a child acts out, if you tell them that they're bad and they're bad and they're bad, they'll take it on as their personality and they'll be bad. And if you take it as, oh, you did a bad thing, but you're a good kid, and here's how you can help me, or here's something you can excel at, or here's something good you can do, then they learn to cultivate that as their personality. And I feel that Jake is constantly, and this all changed for me with this tango. I feel that Jake is constantly looking for opportunities to be good. He's looking for ways to make himself want to be good and give himself reason to be good. because he so easily can go to that dark side. But I think he would rather be on the good side. He just feels kind of like nobody has faith in him. We don't know anything about his childhood, about his background. I just feel like he was always told that he was bad, and when actually he has a really, really sweet side to him.
And we've seen it many times.
Right, but like you said now, with Vera kind of giving him the cold shoulder, with Will, and Will not even like saying, and Will should really be a little more careful, especially since Jake knows so much about him, so many secrets, including that he had an affair with Mary, that he killed Joan. He knows so much. He shouldn't have brushed him off like that. But you know what it reminds me of? When Kaz came to her and she brushed her off like that, she was like, why? Keep her on your good side. You don't want to make an enemy out of that. And that's what he did. He was like, I was never going to make you my deputy. Why? Why not just tell him, Miles has more seniority, but, I'll give you plenty to do. That's a stupid thing, So I feel that now...
I think that it was done to cause problems.
Absolutely.
So, it was just...
And it's a shame because I was really looking forward to seeing Jake do more good things rather than going back to being Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake,
yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway, so much that can happen now. And if I'm not mistaken, usually episode 3 is Pete's episode. At least it's been in the last couple of years. Pete McTighe, senior writer on the show. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in episode 3.
I'm feeling very optimistic about this season.
Yeah.
I really, really am.
Yeah, I think that this episode especially showed that they really still remember how to balance the love and family with the suspense and the violence.
Yes, the dark and the light.
Yeah, which the show has always been, because I feel that in the last couple of seasons they put more emphasis on the violence and the suspense.
We lost the family. We lost...
more character development, more character-driven stories. But this is a really, really promising start. I'm excited.
Me too. Very, very excited.
And hopefully we'll be able to do an episode next week. Hopefully one of you will sponsor it or get some personal perks. Remember, email us as soon as the episode airs if you want to do a perk about it, and we will let you know if we can. Go right here where the perks are. Check out to see what our perks are. And, of course, you always know our email. Write to us. All of you who are lurking in the dark, and put a comment here and a comment there.
We can't do this without your comments.
And we love them. You're
fabulous. Your insight
brilliant.
really changes the ways often that we've been thinking of something.
Absolutely. So, just now, too.
The hive mind.
Yes. Thank you for joining us as always. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.